Hi, my name's Fred Arnold, and welcome to beautiful Southern California and the show Out of the Rough, a show that will help provide you some of the solutions to many of the challenges we all face during these tough economic times. Hi, welcome to Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold, and in this show we'll highlight opportunities and solutions to help get you out of the rough and into success, both financially and personally. In these really tough economic times, I want to bring to you practical solutions to many of life's challenges. And today, we're going to really talk about 401ks, we're going to talk about your savings, we're going to talk about your retirement, we're going to talk about ways in which you can grow your nest egg so that when you're ready to retire, you have enough dollars to do that. And I'm joined by Dan Kravitz. Dan Kravitz is the president of Kravitz Inc. And Dan's the expert when it comes to, in my opinion, when it comes to financial planning and the 401k. And you were co-author of the book, Beyond the 401k. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks for having me.
Now, just real briefly, there's many type of 401ks. You know, there's the SEP IRA. Touch upon those just real briefly.
There's lots of different types of qualified retirement plans. 401k is one of many, and I think a common mistake business owners make is they leave the decision of who's going to set up the plan to an HR person or to their bookkeeper, and people usually go to the 401k. For most small business owners, there's lots of other options, and some of those other options may make a lot more sense for business owners in terms of their needs.
Now, small businesses, and that's what we want to cater the show to, are thinking about providing a 401k to their employees and, of course, to have a nest egg for themselves. You know, what are the 5 biggest mistakes, if you will, and I know you talk a lot about it in your book, that business owners make when it comes to creating or designing a 401k?
Great question, Fred. So, you know, we've been doing this for 33 years, advising thousands of small businesses, and we did some research, and we did find 5 common mistakes. The number one mistake most small businesses make is they procrastinate. They wait too long to set up a retirement plan. So suddenly there's this huge need to catch up, to squeeze 20 years of savings into 10. The reason why that's the number one mistake has to do with the second biggest mistake, and I'm guilty of that, and that is investing everything back into your business. I know, Fred, you're a small business owner, I'm a small business owner. It's very tempting to take whatever profit you have at the end of the year that's left over and want to invest that back into your business.
And that's kind of the way we're brought up. I mean, entrepreneurs want to invest back in their people. They want to invest back in technology. They want to have new offices so they can serve their customers even better. And so, yeah, I'm no stranger to that. I'm very familiar with that. But the philosophy needs to change a little bit.
Well, I'm all for, I'm a small business owner just like you, Fred. I'm all for taking the profit, reinvesting back in the business. But we need to set some aside for our retirement. It's very risky to take everything and put all your eggs into one basket. What I'm preaching is diversification. So I'm suggesting that we take some of that profit and maybe set it aside, not invest it back into the business like it's so tempting to do, and put that into a retirement plan for my employees, but particularly for myself, for the small business owner.
So you mentioned the waiting game, which I just want to touch upon real quickly for the listeners, and that is, it doesn't matter whether you own a small business or not, start saving young. Start saving with that first job or even before that. And then you mentioned, of course, piling your profits back into your company. What's the third mistake?
The third biggest mistake is most small business owners are unaware of alternatives to 401k plans. 401k plans are great for their employees. It's a great way to save. But the problem with 401ks, they're very limiting. The most you can put into a 401k plan is $16,500 a year, $22,000 if you're over 50. Now, for most workers, for most employees, putting in $25 a paycheck or $100 a month will never hit that limit. For a business owner, particularly an older business owner that now needs to catch up, that's taken all his net wealth, put it back into the business, being able to save $16,000 a year or $22,000 a year will not meet their needs. We need to look at other alternatives to 401k plans for small business owners.
Yeah, and I think that's critical, and that is alternative programs, because if you're 45 years old and just start getting started because you piled your profits back into your company, $16,500 over the next 10, 20 years is not going to be that much.
No, it won't be enough. And that kind of leads to the fourth biggest mistake we see. A lot of business owners leave this very important decision in the hands of their bookkeeper, in hands of an HR person. And those people are definitely looking out for the employees and will do a great job setting up a plan that meets the needs of the employees, but often overlooked is the needs of the business owner. And I don't know if you realize this, Fred, a lot of people don't realize this, the number one tax expenditure above the mortgage interest deduction is retirement. It is the number one way to save on taxes. And so a lot of small business owners don't take the time to appreciate the fact that a qualified plan is not just a way to build up retirement savings for themselves and their employees, but it can be a great tax reduction tool for the small business owner.
And everybody's always looking for that tax deduction, especially when you look at the mortgage and now you look at the 401k. What's the fifth item?
And the fifth biggest mistake is the belief that it's expensive to set up a qualified retirement plan, that it's too expensive. I would make the argument that it's too expensive not to set up a qualified retirement plan. Like I shared with you earlier, qualified retirement plans are the number one tool to reduce your taxes. It's also a great way, like we suggested, to kind of turbocharge your retirement savings. And that tax reduction, that ability to accumulate a lot in a tax-deferred vehicle like a qualified retirement plan will significantly outweigh the cost to set up and administer one of these retirement plans.
You mentioned it, and that is the tax advantage to setting up a 401k. First of all, I think it's good for business. I think it's critical for your employees to have something for them. When you go out, if you sell your company for a lot of money, or if you save yourself, the employees have a vehicle to retire, and you set those up. And we're just talking about go one step further, and that is the owner being able to catch up. Be able to catch up just in case they don't sell their business. In other words, that'll be a bonus. They sell their business as a bonus.
Fred, oftentimes we meet with a lot of business owners, and there's three things that they rely on for their retirement: their business, sometimes they own the building that houses their business, and their retirement plan. And I'm a small business owner, and I hope one day I'll be able to sell my business 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and reap the benefits of that. But oftentimes, after doing this for 33 years, we find most businesses don't end up reaping that financial reward they would expect.
Right.
So they need to fall back on something, and that's where the retirement plan can play a role. Kind of think of it like a three-legged stool. I got my business, I got my after-tax savings, for example, maybe the building that houses my business, and the last thing is this retirement account.
I love that, because if you only have two legs of the stool may fall down if you don't balance it properly, and I love that analogy. I just want to bring up one last thing before we jump to a break, and that is, it's important that you have this program and you invest in it consistently, automatically, almost it comes out of your check automatically, because doing it automatically, you don't notice it's gone, you pay less in taxes on every paycheck. It's good for the employee, it's good for the employer.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, I'm a big believer. And that's the great thing about a qualified retirement plan. You're kind of paying yourself first. So being able to do something through payroll deductions is a great way for the employees and the business owners to save. But oftentimes what we see is a pain point at the year end. A small business owner will be meeting with their accountant and realizing they have a problem, a good problem. They have a profit, and your CPA will often say you got one big choice. You can take the money as income and pay taxes on it. Or an alternative is to maybe give a little bit of money to our employees and set aside the rest of that in a qualified retirement plan and avoid giving that money to Uncle Sam in taxes.
Absolutely. We need to start thinking about it now, because I tell you what, when you and I are 65, which isn't too far down the road, that for the Social Security might not be there. We're going to jump to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk with Dan Kravitz on specifically how to set up and a little more about these qualified retirement plans.